I never thought I'd be the guy telling strangers on the internet about how my marriage fell apart. But here I am, staring at the same couch where my wife once kissed me goodnight, wondering how something that looked so normal could hide so many cracks. If you've ever had that gut feeling that something's off, but you talk yourself out of it, you already know how my story begins. My name's Logan Brooks. I'm 33, a construction manager in Austin, Texas. My wife, Avery, is 28, bright, social, the kind of person who fills a room just by laughing. We've been married 5 years, and until recently, I would have told anyone we were solid. It started simple. Avery began going out with her friends once a week, what she called girls' night. I never minded. In fact, I encouraged her to keep her own life outside our marriage. I trusted her. That word, trust, feels heavier now than it ever did back then. If you're still listening, take a second to like the video, subscribe, and drop a comment telling me if you've ever ignored your gut feeling when something felt wrong. It helps more than you know. All right, back to it. The first few weeks were harmless. She'd get dressed, spritz perfume, and say, "Don't wait up, babe, we'll probably stay late." She'd come home around midnight, smelling like wine and perfume, still laughing about inside jokes I didn't understand. But after a while, girls' night became girls' nights, plural, 2, sometimes 3 evenings a week. I started noticing details, the extra time she spent doing her hair, a new outfit I'd never seen before, the way her phone never left her hand. One Thursday, I texted her around 10:30. "You heading home soon?" No reply. At midnight, I tried again. Still nothing. When she finally walked through the door close to 1 a.m., her smile looked forced, her eyes glassy. "Everything okay?" I asked. She froze for a second before answering, "Yeah, just tired. You wouldn't believe how loud Chloe gets after a few margaritas." It was a believable lie, at least then. I hugged her goodnight and told myself not to overthink it. I always told myself that. The next week, the same pattern repeated, but a new detail caught my attention. I saw a notification flash across her phone while it charged on the counter. "Brandon Lee sent you a photo." The preview showed nothing but a half-cropped smiley face. Brandon wasn't one of her girlfriends. I didn't say anything right away. Instead, I tested the waters. "So, who's Brandon?" I asked casually the next morning. She didn't even flinch. "Oh, he's just a photographer. Tessa introduced us. He's helping with our book club promo." Book club? I didn't even know they had a book club. That night, I couldn't sleep. I lay there listening to her soft breathing beside me, the glow of her phone lighting her face as she scrolled. Every few seconds, she smiled at something only she could see. When the weekend came, she said she was heading out again. "We're doing karaoke tonight. Me, Tessa, a few others. Don't wait up." This time, I watched her drive away. Then, on impulse, I opened Find My Phone, a feature we'd set up long ago for emergencies. She'd shared her location, and it still worked. At first, the dot moved toward downtown, no surprise. Then it stopped, not at a bar or restaurant, but at an apartment complex I didn't recognize. I stared at the screen for 10 minutes, heart pounding. A part of me wanted to drive there, confront her, end it right then. Another part of me, the quieter, scared part, told me not to jump to conclusions. So I waited. She came home late, like always, but this time I noticed the smell. Cologne, not perfume. I could tell because it was the same brand my coworker uses. When she kissed my cheek at night, I almost flinched. Over the next few days, I became someone I didn't recognize. Checking her phone when she showered, reading her messages, watching for clues like a detective chasing a ghost. Then came the message that changed everything. Monday afternoon, I borrowed her laptop to print a work document. Her iMessages were synced. At the top of the screen was a thread labeled B. B. You free Wednesday? I miss you. Avery. Girls' night, same plan. My stomach dropped. The lie was right there in plain sight. 3 innocent words that suddenly meant betrayal. Girls' night. I didn't confront her, not yet. I needed to be sure. I started writing everything down. Dates, times, even screenshots. Maybe it was the only way to stay sane. By Wednesday, I had a plan. I told her I had an overnight work emergency at a site outside town. She believed me, hugged me, and said, "Be safe, babe." I waited until she left, then followed her. It felt wrong, sitting 2 cars behind the woman I loved, watching her turn into the same apartment complex from last week. She parked. A tall guy stepped out of the building. Same guy from her messages. He smiled, opened his arms, and she melted into him like they'd done it 100 times before. I didn't get out of the car. I couldn't. The world went quiet, like the air had been sucked out of it. I remember gripping the steering wheel until my hands hurt, watching her disappear inside. For 30 minutes, I just sat there. I thought about every laugh we shared, every promise we made at our wedding, every night she told me she loved me before walking out the door. And for the first time in my life, I realized I didn't actually know the person sleeping next to me. That's where the story starts to break apart. What I did next changed everything, not just my marriage, but who I am. I didn't sleep that night. I couldn't. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Avery walking into that apartment, saw her smile at him, Brandon. My chest ached in ways I didn't know were possible. Part of me wanted to scream, to break down, to end it right there, but I didn't. I needed a plan. I needed proof. I needed answers. If you're still here, hit the like button, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. Trust me, talking about it helps, even if it's strangers on the internet. By morning, I felt like a stranger in my own home. Avery kissed me goodbye like nothing happened, smiling, humming as she left for work. I wanted to reach for her, to hug her and tell her everything was fine, but I couldn't, not anymore. The lie had already started corroding something in me I wasn't sure I could fix. I decided to take a day off. I told my boss I had some personal errands, nothing specific. The truth was, I needed to follow her again, but this time smarter. I set up a small, discreet camera in our living room under the guise of a security test. I figured it would at least capture when she left, maybe give me a timeline of her patterns. I spent the morning pacing, staring at the footage, feeling my stomach twist with every second. Around 2 o'clock, my phone buzzed. It was Tessa, Avery's best friend. Tessa, "Hey, wanna grab coffee today?" Something about the timing felt deliberate, as if she was testing me, making sure I'd see the message. My fingers hovered over the keyboard, but I didn't reply. I needed to know where Avery went next before anyone could cover for her. By evening, she called me. "Hey babe, work done early? Wanna hang out?" I could hear the excitement in her voice. My stomach clenched. I wanted to act normal, to reply casually, but I had to push the feeling down. "Yeah, just catching up on some emails. You?" I said, my voice calm. "Oh, just Tessa and I. Thought we'd do dinner. Nothing fancy," she said. I didn't push further. I said goodnight, hung up, and started reviewing the previous night's footage again. That's when I saw something odd. The timestamp didn't match her story. She had told me she stayed home, but the footage showed her car leaving the driveway around 8 p.m. That's when I decided, no more shadows, no more waiting. I had to confront her, but I couldn't just yell or accuse. I needed a strategy, something that would make her admit the truth without twisting it around. The next day, I worked from home. Every time Avery's phone buzzed, I could feel my heart leap. Around mid-morning, she got a message from Brandon. I held my breath as I read over her shoulder, pretending to be focused on my laptop. "Brandon, miss you tonight. Can't wait." She smiled, typing a quick reply. "Avery, can't wait either." I wanted to throw something. My hands shook. I realized then that denial had been my armor for weeks. I had wanted to believe girls' night was just a lie about late nights out, but this was different. This was emotional cheating, a betrayal hidden behind a casual phrase. After lunch, I got a call from work, some minor emergency, nothing serious. I told them I'd handle it later and decided to follow her after she left for her book club meeting. I parked a few streets away and watched her leave, confident she wouldn't notice me. My gut twisted into knots as she drove toward downtown. I tailed her silently. Every stoplight felt like a countdown to disaster. When she turned into the same apartment complex as before, my chest felt like it would explode. I stayed in the shadows, careful not to be seen. Through the gaps in the blinds, I could see her step out of the car. And there he was, Brandon, holding the door open like he owned the place. I took pictures from my car, my hands trembling, each click of the camera echoing in my ears. The reality of it hit me like a freight train.
The woman I loved, the woman I thought I knew, was leading a double life right under my nose. I didn't leave right away. I watched them from the parking lot for nearly an hour, hoping she would come back, hoping maybe I was wrong. But deep down, I knew the truth. That night, she came home late. She smelled of perfume and something else, something I couldn't place. I didn't say anything. I just waited, pretending to be asleep while my mind raced. I had proof now, pictures, timestamps, messages, everything lined up. The next morning, I made a decision. I would confront her, not in anger, not with accusations, but with undeniable truth. I needed her to see that the lie she'd been living was over. I spent the day preparing. I printed out the messages, laid out the photos, wrote down the times and dates. Everything was ready. I even rehearsed what I'd say, how I'd stay calm and composed no matter what she said. When she walked in that evening, I was waiting. Dinner was silent. Her usual chatter was gone. She could sense something was off. I poured myself a glass of water, then set it down, looking her directly in the eye. "Avery," I started, slowly, my voice steady, "we need to talk, and I need you to be honest with me, completely honest." Her eyes flickered, a small panic that didn't escape me. "What is it?" she asked, trying to sound casually. "I know about Brandon," I said, placing the photos and messages on the table in front of her. The color drained from her face. She opened her mouth, closed it, then finally whispered, "Logan, I held up a hand, stopping her. "No excuses, no lies, just the truth, Avery. I need to know if what I'm seeing is real." For the first time in weeks, I saw her hesitate. And in that pause, I realized everything had changed. Our marriage, our life, our trust, it was all hanging by a thread, and I had to decide whether to try and fix it or let it all fall apart.
I still remember the way the air felt that night, the tension so thick I could barely breathe. Avery sat across from me at the kitchen table, her hands folded neatly in her lap. She wasn't laughing. She wasn't talking. She was quiet, too quiet, and I knew that silence better than any lie she could tell. If you're watching this, take a second to hit the like button, subscribe, and leave a comment, especially if you've ever had to confront a betrayal like this. It helps to know you're not alone. I took a deep breath, steadying myself. I didn't want this to turn into a shouting match. I didn't want to scream or cry in front of her. I wanted honesty, raw and unfiltered. "Avery," I said slowly, placing the photos and messages in front of her again, "I need the truth. I need to hear it from you, not from your texts, not from what I saw. Just tell me everything." Her hands trembled slightly. Her eyes, once so confident and sparkling, looked small, frightened even. I didn't mean for it to happen," she whispered. My chest tightened. "Didn't mean for it to happen? Avery, you lied. You went out every week and told me it was girls' night. I followed you. I have pictures, messages, timestamps. You can't just tell me you didn't mean it." She looked down, avoiding my eyes. "I was lonely. I felt ignored, maybe? I don't know. He made me feel something I hadn't felt in years. I didn't think you'd notice, Logan. I wanted to reach out and grab her hand, to pull her close and fix everything. But I couldn't. Not anymore. Not after the lies, not after the nights of doubt and anxiety, not after seeing the proof of her betrayal with my own eyes. "I trusted you, Avery," I said, my voice shaking, though I tried to keep it steady. "I loved you, and for weeks I told myself I was imagining things. I told myself you were just out with friends. But it wasn't just friends, was it?" She shook her head slowly, tears welling in her eyes. "No, it wasn't." The words hit me like a physical blow. I closed my eyes for a moment, trying to calm the storm inside me. My whole life had been built around her. Our home, our plans, our future, it all felt like it had been built on sand, crumbling beneath me. I remembered every night she'd said she loved me, every hug, every laugh, every promise. And now I was staring at the woman who had quietly, slowly decided to lie to me for months. "I don't know if I can forgive you,"
I said quietly. I don't know if I even want to. I need time, Avery. I need space. And I need to figure out who I am without you lying to me every day. She reached for my hand, desperate. Logan, please. I made a mistake. I love you. I can fix this. We can fix this. I pulled my hand away gently but firmly. Avery, love doesn't excuse betrayal. I can't just forget what happened. I can't just pretend it didn't happen. You can't fix the fact that I saw it, that I lived it, that I felt the gut-wrenching reality that the person I loved wasn't honest with me. She broke down, crying openly now. I sat across from her, heart heavy, feeling a mix of grief, anger, and heartbreak. I loved her, but love alone couldn't undo the damage. Trust, once broken, is nearly impossible to rebuild, and for me, it was gone. I stayed there for hours, letting her cry, letting myself feel the pain, letting the silence speak the words neither of us could say. Eventually, she left the house, and I didn't follow. I didn't call, I didn't beg. I just sat on the couch where I'd first noticed something was wrong and let the weight of reality settle over me. In the following weeks, we had the tough conversations. We separated slowly but without drama. Avery moved out, took her things, and left the apartment we'd shared. I stayed behind, surrounded by the empty echoes of a life I thought was perfect. Friends asked me if I'd ever forgive her. I didn't know. Maybe one day I could, maybe I never would. What I did know was that I had to rebuild myself, piece by piece, from the ruins of trust and love. There were nights I cried alone, wondering if I'd missed the signs. There were mornings I woke up and half expected her to be beside me, smiling, pretending everything was fine. But the truth was clear. She had chosen her lies over our life, and I had to choose myself over heartbreak. I started spending more time with friends, reconnecting with people I'd neglected. I focused on work, on hobbies I'd ignored, on myself. Slowly, the pain dulled. Not gone, not forgotten, but dulled. I learned that betrayal isn't just about the other person. It's about how much you allow it to define you. Avery eventually reached out, apologizing again and again, but I didn't respond. Not because I didn't care, but because some things, once broken, can't be repaired by words alone. Trust, once shattered, leaves cracks that no apology can fill. And so I moved forward. Alone, yes, but stronger, clearer, and more aware of honesty and self-respect. I learned that love is powerful, but so is the courage to walk away when it's been broken. Looking back now, I realize this story isn't just about her. It's about her. About learning that some people aren't meant to stay, even if you love them with everything inside you. It's about realizing that self-respect and truth are worth more than a life built on lies. I still remember the last time I saw her, standing in the doorway, tears streaming, hoping I'd say something, do something to stop her. But all I could do was nod, close the door behind her, and take a deep breath. Because I was finally choosing me. And in that choice, I found the first taste of freedom I'd felt in months.